up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing a full face of Shop Mascara, aka a full face of $1 makeup. It's pretty hard to find products that are under like the $5 range nowadays, especially with inflation. So this is a big achievement. I love cheap stuff. Let's go and get into it. First thing I have is an incredible eyeshadow primer, and I'm kind of hesitant to put it in the video because I just looked today and I can't find it on the Shop Mascara website, and I don't know if that's because it's out of stock, I mean, I just took it down, or if they're just not selling on there, period. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in there in case you can find it on there, or if not on Shop Mascara, look elsewhere because this stuff, thank me later. So this is the Amuse Cosmetics eyeshadow primer in the shade Clean Slate, and this is a dead-on dupe to MAC Paint Pot in Painterly, which is kind of like a peachy pink kind of tone. However, I actually think it's better than MAC Paint Pot. It's got that same texture and consistency, but it's more creamy. Like, not so creamy to where it's gonna make everything melt down and like crease and stuff. I will say you do need to set it down with a powder. Like, if you don't set it with a powder, it will crease. Seriously, cancels out everything, every little bit of discoloration on your eyelids. It's gone. So if you can find this anywhere, highly recommend it. Moving on to eyeshadow. So I actually used two today. First thing I have is the Amuse Cosmetics Eyeshadow Trio in the shade Sandstorm. So this little trio surprised me. The mattes in here are so buttery soft, and they're pigmented, but they're not so pigmented that you have to spend a lot of time working with them and like a lot of time trying to blend them out. Like, you could probably see in the clip that when I first laid my brush down, there was quite a bit of pigmentation, and I was kind of getting nervous there because there was so much that I laid down, but it just buffed out and blended so beautifully and seamlessly. Like, it barely took any work to blend that out. The shimmer in here, which is a really pretty bronze shade, is actually the one that performed the worst, but it's still not bad. Like, it does perform better with your finger versus the brush, and it does look better when you wet it. It did look more chunky and look more like cheap, and then when I went in with the setting spray, it did make it look 10 times more high quality and a lot more finely milled, and I was really impressed with the end result. Like, it just looks so smooth. It did not look like a $1 eyeshadow at all. So the other palette that I decided to go into is this one right here from Aoa Studio. This is just a little trio. This is in the shade Patience. So these are all shimmers. Whenever you touch them, they don't feel the most finely milled. Like, they do have a little bit of like a coarse chalkiness to them, but on the eyes, and especially after you wet them, they look so pretty and just very sheeny, very glowy. And you could also use these as highlighter as well. So I was actually going to do that today, but I ended up forgetting because I used something else instead. But yeah, I just went in with a couple of shades and kind of topped off and put some color in the surrounding areas I didn't touch with the other trio, and it turned out really pretty, especially after I used some setting spray. And again, these do apply better with your fingers. I'm pretty happy so far. Next up is an eyeliner. This is the Aoa Studio Gel Liner, and it's some kind of dark brown shade. I was actually pretty surprised at how pigmented this was, and fun fact, I swatched this on my hand when I was doing the video, and then I went and washed my hands twice. It took washing my hands twice and really rubbing at it and also taking a paper towel to try to wipe it off to actually get it off. So it's pretty waterproof. It did apply pretty well to the eyes. I wouldn't say it's the most creamy, smooth, glidey kind of pencil that I've used. Like, there is some stiffness to it, but I feel like that kind of works in its favor when it comes to longevity, because I feel like this will be pretty long wearing, because once it's set, it's set. I actually had kind of a hard time like blending it out and smudging it once it sat there for a few seconds. You have to kind of work fast with it. So just do one at a time. Still, I feel like for $1, I mean, it's worth a shot. Also, I applied it with an Aoa Studio brush, and I think this came in a set, like the pink, like rose gold set. But you actually may be able to buy these separately too. This is the E144 brush, which is just like an eyeliner / eyebrow brush, however you want to use it. And this works fine. I liked it today for the eyeliner, but usually I use it for using eyeshadow as liner. And it works really well. Like, it's a nice density and thickness. Like, it's not too thick, but it's pretty good for $1. Mascara! I used two different mascaras today. The first one is the Aoa Studio Curl Lifting Mascara, and then the Aoa Studio Volume Boosting Mascara. I released another one I didn't put in the video because I want to save it for a separate one. But this is the Aoa Studio Length Elongating Mascara, and yeah, they're all really pretty neon. Like, they look like highlighters. And to be honest, I actually think these are all the same formula with just a change in the mascara one. I could be wrong, that's just speculation, but it feels like it's the same formula. Starting with the curl mascara. So today was my first day using it, and honestly, it's a pretty basic wand. Like, it just has a slight curve to it, which you could do with literally you can do that with any wand. And I was actually pretty surprised because whenever I like initially lay it down to my lashes, it just automatically started building up volume and thickness. And I would say that's definitely its strong suit. Like, it doesn't build up length a whole lot, and it's not really like a fullness kind of mascara. Like, it's just volume, a little bit of thickness, and just a little bit of clump to make your lashes look, you know, more dense. These are actually very, very long wearing. Like, I actually have a hard time removing them at night, even with cleansing oil. I think I actually end up liking these more for my lower lashes versus my top because I wouldn't be applying as much to my lower lashes. So the volume mascara is pretty much the same kind of wand. It's just not bent. So it's literally like they just took this wand and then on the curl one, they just kind of bent it. That's it. I do like the curling mascara better than this one as far as the wand goes, but they're both a more volumizing, like thickening kind of formula. Not a lot of length. You can't really build them up a whole lot, and they can clump if you apply too many layers. They're not bad. I don't see myself using them every single day. Like, they're not going to be my favorite mascaras, but like I said, I do think I'd like them more for the lowers. However, I was actually pretty surprised by this product. This is the Aoa Studio Hold My Brow Clear Longwear Brow Soap. I'm not typically into brow soap. I don't really like that whole trend of using soap. However, I actually do like this, and this didn't take much at all to push my brow hairs up and give me that like soap brow effect. I do have a lot of hold, but it doesn't feel tight and sticky. Like, there's a lot of brow gels that like I actually don't use them a whole lot anymore because they make my eyes and above like my forehead feel like I've got Botox or something, or what I imagine Botox to feel like, where it just kind of like it just makes your entire face feel kind of dry. This doesn't do that. So all I did was spray it with a setting spray. You can also use water if you want to, but I just took a spoolie after I sprayed it and just kind of dug my spoolie into there a little bit, brushed my hairs up, and I mean, it worked really, really well. I mean, my brow hairs look nice and like up, but not too up. I mean, they could probably stand up more if I want them to, but I don't. I don't want it to look like I've been driving around in like a open top car or something. Like, I just don't like that look personally. But yeah, if you like that like soap brow look, or if you just like to put some kind of hold, some kind of gel in your brows, you really can't beat it. So I did my foundation and concealer off camera, so we're gonna skip to cream bronzer. So I have this Princessa 5-in-1 concealer in the shade Nutmeg. This is pretty much like the LA Girl HD Pro concealer. Like, it's got like a little brush tip applicator. It comes in a tube. I mean, I would say it's like a medium kind of coverage, but the color is kind of like an olivey tan kind of shade, which is actually pretty good. That works out pretty well for my skin tone. It's not too orange and it's not too red. And they do have other skin tone shades. Like, they've got lighter shades and darker shades. And from what I remember, I could be wrong, but I feel like the shade selection is pretty good on this. I actually really enjoyed this. Like, the blend of this is really, really nice. Like, it doesn't set down too fast where you have to work like Speedy Gonzalez. Like, you have to work in sections, like in quadrants. It just sank right in. I would actually like to see how it works under the eyes. Not this shade, but you know, a shade for my skin tone under the eyes. You get it. And this is the point where I realized I had a brush set from Aoa Studio that I hadn't been using, so I started using it for my products from here on out. So this is the Aoa Studio, I think it's like a 10-piece brush set or something. Everything I'm using today will be listed below in the description box, but I used this little flat top brush. This is the F23 brush from the kit set. Both words, we combine them. Yeah, this is the F23 brush from the set, which is just a flat top kabuki style brush. They're all synthetic hair, but it worked out really well for my bronzer, and I think it'd probably be pretty good for foundation and probably blush, probably numerous things. I really do like this one. So for blush, I actually found some liquid blushes on there. These are fairly new. This is the Aoa Studio Color Flush Liquid Blush, and I have two shades. This Corally Peach shade's in the shade Rosewood, and this other one, which is kind of like a mauve-y kind of shade, is in the shade Walnut. I feel like the name Rosewood doesn't really match the color of this. They need to get some different people on their team, just saying. I actually ended up using the shade Rosewood because this mauve shade just doesn't really look like a blush. Like, it's pretty dark, so I feel like if you're a deeper skin tone, this would be really, really pretty, but for my skin tone, way too much. And I actually ended up trying it later on just to see. Like, I put a couple of dots down and I was like, nope, better not. After I wiped it off, there was just a little bit left over. I just blended it into my skin with my finger, and it actually looked pretty decent. So I feel like this could be something that I could work with. It just wouldn't be something I would like directly apply to my skin and work with a brush, because I think it's way too pigmented for that. This color isn't typically one that I would usually go for. I feel like Shop Masay's website, like, I don't know what it is, but like their colors are just very distorted. So I feel like this probably looked more corally. Like, it probably looked different than what it looks like in person. This is just a straight up warm peach, but it's actually beautiful. It's so pretty and springy and summery. I don't know if the finish of this, which was actually kind of more on the matte side, is matte because of my foundation, or if it's just the product, because this is actually the first day I'm using these. Whenever I swatch it on my hand, it does tend to be a little bit more matte. Like, it's not a super dewy kind of blush, but I mean, I have no problems with it. Like, it blended out so well. It didn't set too fast. Yeah, I'm pretty pleasantly surprised by these, so I recommend them. And I did use another one of the Aoa Studio brushes. This is the F24 brush, which is just like a rounded dome-shaped brush. And again, had no problems with it. It blended out perfectly. Like, they're all really nice and soft, and yeah, liked it for blush. Okay, so moving on to highlighters. So I tried another one of these baked highlighters, and I've tried several of these, and I actually end up usually decluttering them. I saw this shade on there. I was like, you know what? Let's give it another shot. This is the shade Allure, and this is a straight up Icy Pink highlighter. And I know that the website must have distorted the colors because I would not, this is not my tone. I do not do icy anything. Like, that just does not work with my skin tone. It does feel very finely milled whenever you initially swatch it. Like, it's actually pretty dry. Like, there's not a lot of dew or glow to it, but it's one of those products that the longer it sits on your skin and the more it mixes with your oils and stuff, it looks better over time. Like, and I'm not saying like, you know, over like 3 or 4 hours. Like, I'm talking like just a matter of like 30 minutes or so. Like, it actually starts looking more glowy, more dewy, or especially if you go into a setting spray and do what I did where I kind of tapped out my under eye area and then I brought it up to my highlighter. It makes it look so much better, so much more glowy. But because this was way too icy for my skin tone, I decided to mix it in with another shade that I've been curious to see how it would work as a highlighter because it's technically a blush. This is the Aoa Studio Lumi Radiant Blush in the shade Delicate Pink. And I had swatched this before and was like, yeah, this is definitely not going to be a blush shade for me. It's just way too light. So I thought let's mix the two together. So on this side, that's what I've done. I mixed the Icy Pink, the shade Allure, with Delicate Pink. And oh my God, it looks so beautiful. It would probably look better with a more pink tone blush versus a peach like what I'm wearing today, but it's so pretty. So on this side though, I decided to put it on by itself. It doesn't look too pinky or anything, and I normally don't like pink highlighters of any kind. It just looks so dumpling-like it looks like a glazed donut. So I did apply those with the Aoa F25 brush, which is just your typical like tapered kind of highlighter brush. You could use this for under eye setting powder or setting powder across your face if you wanted to. So again, I liked it with that. So for setting spray, I did use the Aoa Studio A+ Oil Control Setting Spray. Even though it's oil control, I typically don't like a mattifying kind of setting spray, which is kind of what I expected with this. I can't attest to how it makes my makeup wear, like if it makes it last longer, but as far as what it did, like it doesn't make my skin feel taut. I don't feel like I'm overly matte. Like, it just kind of set the finishes that I already had. And actually, I do have a little more glow and dew than what I had before, and I don't know if that's a setting spray or just my natural oil essences just kind of, what am I doing? My face looks really good. So for lip products, I actually have two that I use today. So the first one I have is this Aoa Studio Special Day Lip Crayon, and I have the shade Honeymoon. And they have actually a pretty good amount of shades. Like, they're all very like nudie, very good for multiple skin tones, very universal. I hadn't used this before today. This is what I'm wearing right now. Like, this is the one that I ended up sticking with. And this is literally so freaking pretty. The color of this is literally the best tone of like mauvey nude neutral that I've ever seen. Like, this is such a pretty everyday color. Like, I definitely see why they would call it a special day color, like your wedding color. Like, it's a perfect kind of like wedding lip. And like most lip crayons I feel like are matte, but this is just the prettiest glossy cream sheen. Like, it is so comfortable. It is so juicy. Like, it looks like a lip gloss. I have worn it for the length of the video, so going on about 40 minutes now, and I was noticing that it was starting to kind of fade off a little bit. Like, it wasn't as intense as it was whenever I first applied it, but as it was wearing off, like, it didn't start feeling more dry. It didn't feel crumbly, crusty. It wasn't giving me that like cat butthole in the rim effect, which I can always appreciate. And I want every shade. So Aoa Studio, you better not discontinue this because I'm gonna be hella mad. The next one I have, I just kind of put this on quickly. Like, I don't know how this wears either. I just want to kind of show you the color because, like I said, the Shop Mascara website does not do colors well. They heavily distort them. This is the LA Colors Pout Lip Gloss in the shade Juicy. So this is kind of like a watermelon kind of color. Like, I actually thought it was a lip stain, but it's a gloss, so the more you know. But this is actually a really pretty color, especially for spring. But it's definitely more on the buildable side. So you can kind of control how much pigmentation you have. So if you want to build it up, you definitely can. And it can be full on opacity, which I do like. Like, I like the flexibility of, you know, if I want something really sheer, I can. Or if I want to build it up and, you know, wear it by itself, I can do that too. So I know I can't attest to longevity, but as far as the color goes, like, there's Juicy. So the last product I have is one that has shocked me, okay? I don't normally buy products like this, but I've been having, let me tell you what it is first. This is the Aoa Studio Hair Tamer Finishing Wand. So it just looks like a mascara too. Like, it just looks like a mascara wand. And I normally don't have the problem of a lot of flyaways and stuff, but let me tell you about my baby hairs. Whenever I wear my hair up, especially on like day 2 or 3 of the messy bun style, okay? These little pieces right here, number one, I'm receding. What happened to me? Turned into a man. But my hair wants to stick up straight. It's not long enough to go into a bobby pin. Hairspray only helps so much. So like, it's not a very attractive messy bun, okay? Like, it's not a cute look. If I can remember, I'm gonna insert a clip of me with my messy bun and like the hair sticking up and like really showing you how this works, because I tried it for the first time a few days ago. And when I tell you my mouth dropped, like I was in awe. I fully expected this to make my hair look like wet or crunchy or just, you know, like obviously you did something to try to get your baby hairs to lay down. Like I don't want it to look obvious. This literally works like magic. It's not sticky, it's not stiff, it's not super alcohol-y. Like it doesn't look like you sprayed half a can of hairspray on your baby hairs. Like it blends in so well with the rest of your hair and it dries really fast. So I do think it works best whenever you put this in and then use some hairspray to really set it. I'm gonna go ahead and stock up on them because you never know when it's gonna get discontinued. So I'm gonna put one in my purse, one for my pockets. I'm gonna have these everywhere. So that is it for this full face of Shop Miss A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've tried anything from Shop Miss A that you think I need to try, please let me know. So give this video a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more Shop Miss A videos like it. And speaking of Shop Miss A, here's an entire playlist of reviews. It's very overwhelming on their website because there's a lot of stuff and you don't want to waste your money. And subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and turn the notification bell on to always see my stuff because you never know when I'm going to upload nowadays. And I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah.